on this before, but it's a very easy subject. It's a subject on the meaning of life. In particular, I'm going to focus on basically the answer and then work backwards from there. Because as far as I'm concerned, a very lovely way of describing the meaning of life is actually to find this thing which we call peace of mind. So instead of actually calling the talk the meaning of life, it's going to be more about peace of mind. Because that is something which everyone really aspires to, even much more so than wealth or fame or love or whatever. To find that peace of mind, and wherever you are and whatever's happening, is almost like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. The thing which many people aspire towards, even though that maybe in some parts of your life we feel that we are aspiring for something else, but really what we truly want, the purpose of our life, is to somehow, somewhere, in some way find this elusive thing called peace of mind. The times when you have been the happiest, I like to ask people to reflect upon those. So far in your life, the times of the most greatest happiness or contentment, you'll probably find that those were times when you experienced this amazing thing which we call peace of mind. But those times when you have had that wonderful experience of peace of mind, the first thing I'm going to ask you was everything so perfect? And usually you find, no, it wasn't so perfect. It was as if that we could find peace of mind, even though what was surrounding us was not so perfect. It's as if we find peace of mind in spite of the difficulties and problems and imperfections of life. And that's one of my first important points. Never think that you can find peace of mind after you've finished all your business, after you've fixed up all your problems, after you've retired from work, because by that time you're too old anyway. And there are other problems when you retire. Sometimes we always think that later on I can find my peace of mind, my happiness, my freedom, what I've always been looking for. But the first thing to know is that you can only find this great thing called peace of mind, your meaning in life, in the beautiful imperfection of life. And what do we mean by learning how to be at peace in our mind, even though everything is so imperfect? The reason is, that this is the nature of our world. And a lot of times, as I've said here before, if there's something to do, we do it. If there's nothing to do, we make peace and leave it alone. And you should know by now, there's so much of the things you worried about, you strive and struggle with. Have you really made them better, or have you made it worse? So much of our struggle and striving is counterproductive, and sometimes one of the best things you can do is just make peace with things. Make peace of mind. Imperfection. A good example, to be topical. How many of you were at peace with the weather today? Or how many think, oh, it's so hot, it's too hot. Every time you thought it's too hot, why is it too hot? Did that make it cooler or hotter for you? And of course it makes it hotter for you. Every time you complain, it makes it hotter. So instead of complaining, and people have actually told me this, I read this somewhere, on days like today, people actually call up the Weather Bureau. You can find their number in the telephone directory and complain. You're supposed to be the Weather Bureau. Why do you make it so hot today? Of course, it's not their fault. It's no one's fault. So who can you complain to anyway? No one. We know we can't complain about the weather. So can we complain about other things in life? How will you complain about the government? Now come on, we just had a change of government in Western Australia. Hasn't it dawned on you yet? We're all the same. With minor differences. But really, that's what the government is like. So it's just, this is the life in which we have to live. So the only way we can find a bit of peace of mind is not trying to make everything so perfect and so nice. It's understanding that peace of mind comes from another thing, a sense of accepting and understanding you can bear with these things. You've been in hotter days like this. You've been in more difficult times than this. We've all gone through the ups and downs of life. We all remember that the ups always follow the downs. No matter how down it goes, it has to come up again afterwards. It's a yo-yo world. And sometimes when it's down, we forget it's going to go up. And more importantly, when it's up, we forget it's going to go down. And if we understand this is the nature of life, we understand the nature of life, then we can make peace with her. It's only when we don't understand, when we think that somehow or other we can make it different. If we struggle, if we strive, and if we really give those people in the Western Bureau peace of mind, not peace of mind, but a peace of our mind, then tell them off, and somehow or other we can get them together and just make things more comfortable. But we understand that we can't control this world. We can't control this world and change it to be the way we'd like it to be. And anyway, if we did change it the way we would like it to be, what about other people the way they would like it to be? In the end, we'd have to have a committee, make a committee decision on what temperature we would like today. Of course, that's just more suffering, as anybody who's been on a committee knows. So instead of doing that, we have to learn how to make peace with things, even in imperfection. And it's a wonderful thing, if you can't change things, you can make peace with them. Another thing you can't change, which people also create a lot of problems in life, which stops you having peace of mind. What's the most obvious thing you cannot change? The past. It's already finished, it's gone, it's done with. But still people keep lingering over the past and worrying about the past and feeling so guilty about the past or so angry about the past. The only difference between guilt and anger is anger is at somebody else. Guilt is anger towards yourself. That's all it really is. And also like grief as well, anger about the past or what's happened to you. And all these things, we know we can't change these things. It's fixed, it's gone. So instead of getting angry about these things, we can make peace with our past. And how do you make peace with your past when there's so much unfinished business to be done? Make it finished. There is one of my favourite stories, and this story is in Opening the Door of Your Heart, which is on sale in our library at a very reasonable price. And that is a wonderful story of this monk who was building his main hall in his monastery. And of course it takes a lot of time and effort to make a big building like that. But it got to the time of the rainy season, the monsoon season. And in Thailand, as in most Buddhist countries, when it comes to the wet season, all the monks go on retreat, have a 3-month retreat period. And so the abbot of this monastery told the builders that we're all going to be meditating for the next 3 months. And anyway, it's going to be raining. It's not the best time to build anyway. All the builders, you can go home and come back in 3 months. So he sent all the builders away. So a few days later, a visitor came to the temple and they saw this hall incomplete. And so just in a conversation with the abbot, they asked, when is your hall going to be finished? And the abbot replied, it is finished. To which the visitor was quite stunned and said, what do you mean? It's finished. There's not a roof on it. Are you going to leave it like that? There's no glass in the windows. There's pieces of wood and old cement bags all over the floor. What do you mean it's finished? To which the abbot replied his immortal words, Sir, what's done is finished.